Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen,
And I'm John Johnson.
and you're listening to Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, the podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, both classic and new comics we want to read, and everything else in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books.
Today, we are reading Batman, Year One.
Yeah.
Which is in honor of the new Batman movie coming out that came out this week.
With Rob Pattinson.
Rob Pattinson, the emo Batman or whatever. I don't know. We haven't watched.
No, we haven't watched it yet. We're excited to do. We're gonna give him his chance.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I'm always willing to give people. Remember when everybody was talking about Heath Ledger being
they were
Joker?
like, no way he's gonna be a good
Fuck
Joker.
Heath
That's
Ledger,
true.
and everybody shut your goddamn mouths.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows that's the best Joker so far. Well, some people really love the Jack Nicholson one, and he did what he did at the time.
Yeah.
Honestly, there probably wouldn't be a
Heath
Ledger Joker without
Yeah.
the first interpretation from Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. And I really liked the Joaquin Phoenix version too. Like it was a different
Oh yeah, I forgot
like
about that one because that's like not in continuity.
Because it's not like he's like a tortured.
That was a fucked up one. I'll say
it was
that.
really messed up. Yeah. So.
I was like, wow, this is pretty real. It's a really real Joker where he's got like schizophrenia and is just a guy with a gun who's crazy. It's real. All right, cool. It's a feel-good movie of the year is what that one is. So, God forbid, luckily nothing happened from that movie. Like everybody when it came out was saying, this is gonna make people do stuff or whatever, and they were saying it was like an incel movie or something. We're like,
oh really?
Yes, that was like there was a lot of critique of this is like highlighting. It's almost like metal music.
Oh, that's right.
Will make kids murder people or something.
I forgot that his relationship with spoilers if you haven't seen it, but it's been out for a while. I forgot that his relationship with his neighbor wasn't real, and that was I was like, because I was like, incel. Why would you?
Yeah, he had a girlfriend.
That's right.
Man.
I know, and I was like, oh, that's right. He made that up.
Yeah, he did not have a girlfriend. He was obsessing about a girl who lived across the way, so he was a bit of an incel.
A bit of an incel.
But like they were like on the news. They're like, is he the new star of the incel groupies or whatever? And like, are people going to like shoot someone if Conan O'Brien's inviting incels onto his show to make fun of, and then they're going to shoot him on like that's what they're like. This is going to cause violence or something. I'm like, I don't know if it's going to do that, but it's almost like when they're like the Satanic Panic with like Kiss or something. Like, Kiss means Knights in Satan's service or whatever, and it's gonna like I had teachers literally tell me that. So
yeah, you're take that Metallica, that demon shirt off.
Oh yeah. Oh, God, I'm flashing back to high school. Anyway,
Batman Year One.
Batman Year One. So this book has so much like awe and reverence on it and everything, and just like lore and shit. But this book is by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli and Richard Lewis. I think did the coloring on it, and it's just so fucking good. I'm just gonna start off with like I fucking love this book, and I didn't love this book when I first read it like 15 years ago, because and we talked about this before, John, but like. We've read enough Batman now, and I've read enough Batman that like this book had so much stuff in it that was like if you've read a lot of Batman, it like adds so much to it. But if you haven't read a lot of Batman, it's a good place to start if you're like, Year One. Sounds like a good place to start. But it means so much more after we've read like Long Halloween and all these other books that we've gone through, and even other Frank Miller stuff that I feel like it relates to, even though it's that other stuff's not supposed to be like in canon. It feels like he was setting it up to be part of that.
Yeah, because this is what is it? Issue 404 through
407. So this is actually the Batman comic in continuity. This is like the first year of Batman in continuity for the comics, as opposed to like Batman Dark Knight, which is just a outside of continuity, outside of the the actual history of Batman story that Frank Miller wrote that is also groundbreaking and everything, but it's separated because it's like so weird and out there, and they're like, we just want to tell a Batman story and not have to weigh down the continuity.
It's like the multiverse, basically.
Yeah, well, but before the multiverse.
Or Elseworlds, pardon me.
Or Elseworlds. Please, John.
Yes.
Elseworlds.
Excuse me.
So it's before though. It's before that stuff was even a thing. Yeah. So like before, well, kind of. I mean, I think it was just before. It was right around the time of Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Okay.
The first one. So that's where DC was like, we got to clean up all this, like all these different multiverse, stuff happening on different Earths and different realms and shit. So like, let's collapse it all into one and have some like big event happen. And we did that. We covered that in a 2-part episode, last year or something.
So.
And go back and listen to that if you want to hear it. But it really like condensed all of the continuity from the last the first 50 years of DC into like one Earth. And so like it just made everything streamlined, or it was supposed to. This is actually, I found this out recently, this timeline right now, like right at like Batman, this time period 404 to like 1989. Well, I think this is like 86 or 5 or something. No, this has to be like 87.
Okay.
So like 87 to 89 is like my favorite comic years. Like and around that too, but like that's when like Blue Beetle and all those Charlton The Question
all came in the fold.
All came in the fold. You had Green Arrow, like the badass, like it's kind of like the Dark Knight run of Green Arrow was happening at that time. Just like the Vigilante had a series. Peacemaker had his series, all that stuff was all happening right now because they got a revived DC, and all the art is like my favorite type of art. So I don't know what was going on with the art at DC, but the house style was like my favorite house style. So like everything going on was fantastic, and just in my mind at least, at least the 6 books a month that I liked, I was like, this is fucking awesome. So, and I wasn't reading them like when they came out. This is like just in me looking at it from now. When I read comics, what I generally go to is that time period, and I enjoy that stuff a lot. So, and this fits right in with that. I read this, and I was just like, wow, like that is a fucking comic. So, enough of me blabbering about it. But John, you read this before?
Yes, so I had read this one before. Again, long time ago. I had read this one before The Dark Knight. So.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah. So
cool.
I definitely like you said, going back on it now, like seeing like kind of like hints at maybe some even though it's not continuity, like some connective tissue in there, kind of like hinting at things. Yeah, and I remember liking it then. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like I've always like I've never been one that's bothered by the superhero origin stories. I like it. I've always been like, well, how'd they get that? And like I'm the one that's like, Superman, how does he shave? I want to know that. Like, I want to know.
Then you, sir, would like the 60s Superman.
Yes, I know. And it's so silly. But, like, I like knowing all the little, like, the stupid details even sometimes.
Yeah.
But this in particular, I really like the duality that we have here between Jim Gordon's story going through this and then Bruce Wayne's story.
Yeah, and we should talk about that. That's how this story is posed. It's 2 different narratives happening simultaneously, sometimes exactly simultaneously during the same events and stuff. But it's starting like January 4th of a year, and then it's going one whole year almost to the day.
I think so, yeah.
Back, a full year it takes place, and it's the year that Lieutenant Jim Gordon, this is before he's commissioned and everything, moves to Gotham with his family, with his wife, who might be pregnant when he's moving there. And he's like, God, I hope she's not, because this city's fucking terrible.
Yeah, because I'm moving to, like, the worst city ever.
Imagine you're moving to New York. And and in the 80s New York. I don't know. I assume that's, like, what Gotham's supposed to be, is one of those kind of cities, so.
Yeah.
Those big cities. Not that New York is a trash city or something.
I almost said Metropolis, but we can't say that because there's actually Metropolis.
It's like some sort of metropolis.
I guess I don't know, what do they say? Like, is it like Jersey to New York?
Sure. Yeah. Well, from what I understand, back in the day, New York used to be really full of crime.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to assume that's what they were going for, with this. And this is like this was written in the 80s. So it's like, I'm assuming trying to mimic that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got trains that are in the sky.
Yeah.
So it could be Chicago or whatever. But he says he came from Chicago to Gotham.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why he's on a sky train or what the fuck. I don't know. But yeah, like he's taking the train in and Bruce Wayne is flying in. Now I was like, is this the plane they show is a commercial plane.
Yeah.
But there's only one passenger that they show in that plane, and it's Bruce Wayne.
Well, he's in first class at least. We know that.
At least first class.
At least.
I mean, if I was Bruce Wayne, I'd be flying private everywhere. Because fuck sitting in any kind of domestic, normal people filled plane, garbage people.
Yeah. What did the scary preacher say? He says like it's like a tube of demons.
A tube of demons.
That's why I have to have these private planes.
I like it.
I can't be in the tube of demons.
Tube of demons. Yes. So yeah. I mean, obviously, and I mean, maybe it's because Bruce Wayne isn't that guy, but he pretends to be that guy. Maybe he likes being around the filth.
Maybe. The rabble.
The rabble. Yes, the unwashed masses, as they used to call them. So anyway, these two narratives are happening. I was going to say, what do you think of the lettering in this? Because for all you who don't know, we're getting a little esoteric here, but the lettering is like the different fonts in the text balloons. And so so Gordan has very obvious, like, it looks like it's
typewriter
written on notepads. Well, it's not typewriter. It's like handwritten, but it's like it would be on a legal pad or something.
Yeah.
It's on a yellow box. And Bruce Wayne's is written in cursive on like little pieces of paper kind of torn or whatever. Did you have a hard time reading?
It took me a minute to get into to his.
It made me laugh because I was like, I haven't read cursive in so long. I was like, to Poosley Gala? What the fuck is he saying? And I'm like, oh, it's from here. All right, okay. I forgot how to read cursive because no one fucking writes in cursive anymore.
That's true.
So it was funny. I was
it's
like,
dying
wow,
art.
It's a dying like type of language.
That's true. I know they don't even teach it anymore for because I have friends that have kids that are like, no, like we've taught them how to sign their name. That's
my
about
child learn how to write cursive. How are they going to read anything from before 1999? Yeah, the before 4 times. Yeah. So anyway, so these two narratives are going on, and I like that they separate them by those two different distinct things because you never get confused of who's talking and when. Because like I said, they overlap sometimes in the same scene and what's going on. So, like I said, Gordan is coming to the town. He's worried about his wife, Barbara. And then when I first read this, I was like, Barbara, isn't that his daughter? And I was all confused because I didn't realize I don't know if I was stupid or whatever. But Barbara is also the name of his wife.
Yeah.
So, duh. I don't know why. I read this when I was like 19 or whatever, and I was like not steeped in any Batman lore at all or something. So I had just only watched the Batman animated series, and the only Barbara in that is Barbara, his daughter. Yeah. So that's why. But yeah, and Bruce is coming into town from, and this was interesting. I was like, I don't know if this is still lore or this is still continuity, but he's been gone for 15 years, but he's 25. So that means he left when he was 10 to go train and become Batman.
Yeah, to learn however many styles of martial arts.
Now, hold on. It might be true that maybe he got sent away to like go learn regular school, and then after he graduated from those schools,
then he stayed.
Then he was like, I'm gonna be Batman, and then or he's gonna be a vigilante.
He
doesn't know he's Batman yet. He hasn't got a name. He's just like, he knows he wants to fight crime in Gotham and clean it up as a vigilante because he knows that
he specifically says he knows he has the means, the skills, and he's like, I don't know about I have the methods. I have multiple methods.
Yeah, but I'm missing something.
But yeah, I'm not ready.
Yeah, he's not fully ready. And I liked in this when he actually does like try out his skills and shit. Like he's not very good at first. So that's fun, But we find out as Gordan goes to the police station and stuff that the commissioner that is in now, who's named Gillian Loeb, which I was like, is that a slight against Jeff Loeb, or is it just a coincidence? I was like, that guy kind of looks like Jeff Loeb. Just add a lot of wrinkles or something to him. He looks a lot like Jeff Loeb. But yeah, so I just thought it was funny that Loeb is the guy's name. But yeah, we find out that potentially Gordan has been transferred here. I don't even know if he went willfully.
Yeah.
But he's been transferred here because he didn't go along with the take. He's the Serpico of the last police force that he was on. And they're like, we don't want you. You won't.
You're making us look bad.
You're making us look bad. You're doing too good police work, and we're trying to get money. We're trying to get paid and, be enforcers and be feared on the streets. And you're trying to actually solve crimes and shit. Get the fuck out of here. You're not one of us. So something happened to him where, like, he was probably reprimanded for that. Or I think maybe there was a case where he maybe testified against some people or some shit. And so they sent him away, and so he goes to his new commissioner, Loeb, and says, hey, like, I know you've heard a lot about me. I'm not trying to stir shit up. I just want to be, like, a good cop or whatever. And Loeb is actually, like, at first, like, no, you're fine. You'll fit in just fine here. Don't worry about it. We like you. And then we also see Bruce Wayne, getting back to Wayne Manor. And, like, it's the first time he's been back in a long time. I was like, did Alfred just live at Wayne Manor for 15 years?
Just dusted a wing.
If I was him, he's in his butler suit when Bruce comes back. If I was him, I'd show up in like shorts and be like, "What's up? Welcome to my fucking house.
Hawaiian shirt.
It's been my house for 15 years. Yes, I've cleaned it, but I paid people to clean it. Cause fuck that. I'm living here now. So
Yeah, I know I'm your butler, but I also have a butler.
The butler's butler. Yeah, so they get it back, like, reintroduced, and it's interesting.
Master Wayne.
Yeah, Master Wayne. Why do we fall down, Master Wayne? So we can put rocks back up. Sorry, that's a terrible.
That's our terrible Michael Caine.
Terrible but hilarious, and I love doing it. But yeah, so like Alfred is just happy. He's like, hey, what's going on? Master Wayne, and it's very weird. I thought that, like, he just falls back into like servitude or whatever, which I wouldn't be. I'd be like, fuck this. But maybe he loves being he loves being a butler to Bruce and the family.
He loves Bruce.
Yeah. So Bruce is happy to be back, but he's ready to try out his skills. In the meantime, Gordan is working with his new partner, who's named Flass. Detective Flass. And we find out, like, this guy doesn't try to hide shit, which is fantastic. I was just like, just right away. He's like, hold on a second, Jim. I got to go do something. And he walks up to some street toughs. He's like, hey, like, where's my money or whatever? And he just, like, punches the guys in the face, just starts attacking them. And I thought this was cool. Like, Jim Gordan in this is also really badass.
Yeah, he's also a good detective.
Yeah, and he's a good detective, but he's also, like, I don't know if this has ever been in the comics before, but him being, like, ex-military enough that he could beat up a Green Beret.
Yeah.
Because he even says later on, like, it's been a while since I beat up a Green Beret. But, like, I'll shake that rust off or whatever. And, like, goes after this guy Flass later on. But in this instance, he's just watching. He's just, like, taking note. Obviously, Flass was a Green Beret at some time. He's got some moves. For reference, I'll just remember that shit for later, And then when Flash comes back in the car, Gordon's like, hey, was that really necessary? And he's like, no, he had this on him. And he throws Gordan a knife, like, it looks like a butterfly, or not a butterfly, a switchblade.
Yeah.
But he pushes the button and it's comb. It's one of those, like,
those toy
80s
ones.
toy combs that are probably illegal now because they look like a knife.
Yeah.
And I had one of those.
I
thought it was fucking awesome.
I had a regular one, and then I had a mini one for my mustache.
Nice. For your 9-year-old mustache.
Whatever.
But yeah, so we get, like, this nice this nice introduction to the group, and we see how, like, Gordan is like, nah. Like as he's introduced to Flask and, like, what happens here, he's in his mind going, I hope those fucking tests are negative, the pregnancy tests.
Yeah.
Because he does not want to raise a child in this environment with these terrible people. But that doesn't happen. And of course, it just skips. Like, one thing I liked is they will just skip ahead, like, weeks just to get the story going. Like they'll jump ahead, and it's already been 2 weeks, and we see he's still with Flask, but we see that he's being more curt with Flask, and he's not like I want to say Flask.
I want to say Flask every time too.
Yeah, but he's being more curt and like straightforward and direct. Like, hey, don't fuck with me. I don't want to deal with any of this shit. And so Flask is like, look, you should just ease up a little bit, relax, kind of be one of the guys. And Gordon's like, I ain't having any of that shit, and please call me lieutenant, because I am your lieutenant or whatever. And so, or I don't even know if he's his lieutenant, but he's just like, call me lieutenant, because I don't know what's higher. Is a detective higher than lieutenant?
I think lieutenant would be higher.
I have no idea. I don't know anything about police ranks, so
I don't.
Sorry if you're a cop and you're like, what the fuck? But yeah, but either way, he's a lieutenant. I got the feeling that he was not higher than a detective.
Yeah.
So that's probably what it is. Maybe Flask is higher, in rank, and so that's why he's with him in the car and he's driving. Flask is driving always in this situation. So we get to see in these months, because it jumps from like January to like February, and in February we see Master Bruce is training. He's fucking breaking bricks with karate chops and knocking over trees.
Whole trees.
He kicks a fucking tree in half.
Yeah.
That's how badass Bruce Wayne was. I did think he was a bit OP'd in this, like overpowered, because there's a couple times where he gets like shot, and for some reason I buy it more in like Batman Dark Knight. Like when he gets shot and he's like, it's just a flesh wound. But it's like, he's like shot in the chest or whatever. And you're like, oh, okay. Like it's an old grizzled Bruce. So I feel like he could push.
He's been shot a couple times.
Yeah. But in this, he hasn't been Batman before. He gets shot and he's just like, I can push through the pain. I'm like, really? It's in your femur or whatever. Like, you can't run. You can't, like, just knowing. And maybe it's because, like, this is the thing that happens back in the day too. In the 80s, if you knew karate, people were like, whoa. Like it's a mystical, magical self-defense art that like is possibly could do, beat you at anything or whatever. And then like Lady Shiva and stuff, like later on will train Batman and stuff. And it's just like, none of that. Like he should be learning like jujitsu and actual real fighting skills that are good.
Except it's funny. You said that and then made me think I'm going to jump a little ahead just because of a line in this, because you said karate. And at one point when he's fighting someone later, he recognizes like, oh, she knows karate. Well, good thing I know like 12 other fighting styles as well. Like,
but he knows like the shitty, like the ones that don't, like I know Aikido or whatever. Like, and it's like, okay, like so does Steven Seagal, but that doesn't make him,
Have you seen people run at him and he just
he'll just deflect,
throws it to the ground.
He'll just deflect the air and they'll fly around. It's pretty awesome, but that's not real. So when I watch like UFC or whatever and we see like what actually works, I'm like, oh, they should like really incorporate this shit into Batman, probably like the stuff that really works. But it's funny to look at these old 80s comics and movies and stuff where like someone like Bloodsport and someone would like punch or whatever, and it's like that wouldn't really, I don't know if that would do anything, or like, you know what I mean? Like, or like that guy could have just like kicked you in the head. You have no defense to any of that, or taking you down on the ground and like.
No, I gotta move my hands and my arms around in some cool positions first.
Yeah,
and then.
True. Good point. Good point. It's all about flash and misdirection. So yeah. Anyway, so back to this. Bruce kicks a tree, cuts it in half, and he's like, "I'm ready. I think I'm ready, but I have to wait at least maybe until like he's trying to figure out like how to. He knows something's missing. He's trying to figure out like when he should go, and it's coming up at the time where he thinks, yeah, I should do something. So it's March now, and he's like, I liked this. I thought it's like he's in his car, which is like a Porsche. I'm like, not very suspicious at all or conspicuous. Like, like who drives Porsches around and parks them in like the shittiest neighborhood and then walks out and he's like, well, at least in the animated series, he was always a bum named Matches Malone when he went undercover. So in this, he like puts some makeup on and he's talking like to the audience, but to himself as well. He's like, yeah, all you got to do is kind of like put some powder in your hair to make it a little bit grayer, like make your face all pale with some powder.
Give yourself like a scar.
Give yourself a scar that stands out so people only recognize the scar and they won't even see Bruce Wayne behind any of this. And then I'm like, but that guy gets out of a Porsche, so it seems kind of like maybe if someone followed you, they might know, wait a second.
Wait a minute.
How does that guy have a Porsche or whatever? So seemed like a little bit suspicious, but so he's getting ready to go on like his first undercover mission, just to maybe scope things out, see what he can see in the bad parts of town. At the same time, Gordan, who hasn't really been following along with everybody's
Not following Proto.
yeah, he's not following Proto. He is he like Flass was complaining to Loeb earlier and was like, "Hey, we got to teach this guy a lesson." And Loeb's like, "Yeah, do whatever you want. I'm going to be out of town in 2 weeks. You do it then. That way I can't get any heat from it." And so Flash pulls a fucking Full Metal Jacket, and just gets all his buddies who are other cops, and they're wearing masks. Are they wearing masks? I don't even know if they're wearing masks.
I think they're wearing masks.
Okay, but it doesn't really show their faces. Oh no, they are wearing masks. You're right. They're wearing like balaclavas, and they have baseball bats, and they just beat the fuck out of Gordan. But he puts up a pretty good fight. I like this because he's like, I'm outnumbered, but you know what? I've like handled more than this before. And then he's like, but then that was a while ago. And then he gets like hit in the back of the head with a bat, and then they hit him on the ground, and then they beat him pretty fucking savagely with bats.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and then they remind me that I've got a pregnant wife, like, and that if I don't want anything to happen to them, I should or happen to his wife and stuff, then I shouldn't, I should be better to the people in the police department. So.
And he recognizes a familiar chuckle at the end.
Yeah.
And that gives him the
it's Flass.
Yeah, he's like, oh, it's Flass.
Yeah. So we get the first night. Well, we cut to the first night out for Bruce, and he's walking down the seedy streets of Gotham, and he sees a pimp trying to pimp out a 12-year-old girl, or like a really young,
young girl. Yeah.
They don't say how old she is, but he asks like, "How old are you?" Because she's like, "You want a party, mister?" And he's like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "How old are you?" And she's like, "How old do you want me to be?" And then the pimp starts like hitting her, being like, "No, like, you're saying it all wrong." And like you gotta know who to say that shit to. He's obviously not looking for anything. He's a cop. He's got vice all over him or whatever. And so because of that, the guy tries to stab Bruce, and it doesn't go well for him. But because all these ladies are kind of brainwashed or whatever.
Yeah, they're all part of a tight knit. They're obviously in this tight knit community of.
And they see their pimp getting beat up, and the little girl. I don't know if it's the little girl. One of the people that are around him, one of the prostitutes, stabs Bruce in the leg, and is like, "That's get off our pimp" or whatever. And they all attack him, and then this one lady named Selena, coincidentally, who could that be? She is like upstairs, and I guess she's at least friends with these prostitutes. Doesn't say if she's part of it or not, but she's definitely in like sexy attire. So I was like, maybe she is, or not. I'm not sure, but they never really reference that she's actually a prostitute in this or anything. And she sees Bruce hit a girl, like push her away because he gets stabbed by her, and Selena's like, "No one hurts Holly," and so she kind of goes after Bruce, and that's where he says, "She knows karate, but I know like 20 other moves." Yeah. So like, no problem. But then the police show up, and this is where they go after him. And this was the part I was like, he's a little OP'd, I would say. They shoot him because he runs, and of course the cops, I don't even know if he runs. The cops just fire on him when they see him. And they're like, he had a gun in his hand. And they're like, "No, he didn't have anything in his hands." And they just shoot because they're cops, and they're shitty cops in Gotham. Yeah. And they shoot him, and it says, he like Bruce says, they hit an artery, and he's bleeding out. And I'm like, if they hit an artery, like, it doesn't matter if you're Batman, you can't push through hitting an artery or whatever. But like, they throw him in the back of their car, and they put handcuffs on him, and he's able to, with an artery bleeding out in the back seat, just snap the cuffs.
Yeah, like pull them apart.
Yeah,
like,
with his
sheer strength.
Yes, and then like punch through. I don't. Maybe this cop car doesn't have like the gate, between the criminals and the front seat or whatever.
Yeah, it was hard.
He either punches through the gate or just punches the guy, one of the cops, and makes them have an accident. But he does save their lives. He doesn't leave them to die, even though they're fucking dirty cops or whatever. And I say that because they're actually dirty cops. And then, but he can't kill anybody, so we establish that. And then we get to one of my favorite parts. This is one of my favorite parts. So Bruce, gets away, and he's wounded, but he's like, luckily, like I have my Alfred, who's, they say, like he actually says, Alfred is a battle-trained surgeon or whatever. So like that's one thing my parents left me, he says, is like someone who can, stop an artery from bleeding.
Which is cool because I didn't know until more recently that Alfred apparently has a rich background history. He was.
Well, I thought that was kind of a newer.
Was it newer?
Thing. Yeah, okay. That they were going into because he's never really. But this kind of establishes that.
Okay, yeah. Well, that was part of it. Like apparently he was like in like some British Secret Service thing, and he also.
Yeah, that was a newer thing.
Newer. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they said he also. The thing I was reading that he was a medic in the military.
Yes, I think that was established in this or maybe around this time, and they kept that, but then they made him like, oh no, he's part of like a CIA kind of thing, or like, but the British version.
Well, that's good because they always make him out to be like I'm blanking on the word. Like Batman's right hand man and like right. Always helping
right, indispensable.
Indispensable. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for, but it wasn't coming to my brain fog. But yeah, so indispensable to him to like, there's different iterations, but in general, like Alfred usually is like, the guy in the chair. We'll say like, he definitely he does more than you would think.
Yeah, and even in like the animated series, he does that kind of stuff. So I think it was established around this time, possibly from this, that he's a little bit more than just a butler or whatever.
Yeah.
So what I was saying was one of my favorite parts is Gordan being the same night. This is the same night that he gets beat up. He's like, fuck Flask, right? So he takes a bat and he drives over to, I don't know if it's Flask's house, but it's where all the guys are partying after they beat him up. And he's like waiting for Flask to leave because he's the last guy. And he follows Flask and pushes him off the road in his car because Flask is also drunk. And then he points his gun at Flask. And then this is where he's like, he's big. Green Beret training. It's been 15 years since I had to take out a Green Beret. Even so, he deserves a handicap. And he throws Flask a bat because he's so confident in his skills to be able to beat a man who's much bigger than him as a Green Beret as well.
Who, after he's already been beat down this evening.
Yeah, he's already been beaten by baseball bats, like 4 baseball bats. So you could assume he's got like broken ribs maybe, or like he says, he didn't kill me, but they did just enough so like, they didn't kill me or whatever. So, but yeah, he takes him out. He fucking karate chops him in the neck and shit. I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like this is like, this is exactly, I don't know if you've seen Lethal Weapon recently.
No.
The end of Lethal Weapon is ridiculous now. But in the 80s, it was amazing. Like it's literally Mel Gibson doing this.
Oh, awesome.
Like he literally has a moment where he's like the bad guy who's played by who's that crazy guy from Point Break? What's the Gary Busey?
Oh, Gary Busey, yeah.
Gary Busey is the bad guy in Lethal Weapon,
okay.
And he literally is like, "You and me, mano a mano," and they throw their guns away and they do like a ha because they were both special forces guys or whatever in the military, and Riggs gets to show his kung fu or whatever the fuck he knows. And it's like ridiculous. Like it's so funny now in context of knowing what mixed martial arts is and stuff.
Yeah.
That it's just so ridiculous to watch.
Well, now I want to watch it.
It is amazing to watch now. But like at the time in the 80s, it must have been like, this is the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, it's kind of it's almost exactly that same scene where he actually beats the fuck out of this guy even though he was armed with a baseball bat, and just he beats him up just enough to put Flask in the hospital, or to not put Flask in the hospital, but like to make it so he strips him naked in the woods and he handcuffs him behind his back and he's like, Flask ain't gonna say anything to anybody. He'll just get off my back now. Like he'll know that I did this and like that I can do this, and then he won't let the other guys do shit anymore or whatever. So that is like the coolest scene I think of the first issue was that whole like Detective Gordan or Lieutenant Gordan, because Gordan in everything I've ever seen, especially like what I grew up watching was like the animated series. He's just like an upstanding old man, you know, like hey, that's not right, but like I gotta agree with Batman, like I gotta work with him or whatever because it's Gotham.
Yeah,
but like I never seen him as like badass, you know, like real badass.
Yeah.
And this is like, whoa, what the fuck was he? Like, there needs to be like, someone needs to write that comic about like, what was he back in the day? How could he beat Flass? Like, what Green Berets did he beat up and how and why kind of thing. And now you could write it with the knowledge of what we know actually works in martial arts.
Yeah.
So you could actually like have him learn the correct things that would take out a Green Beret in the 80s or whatever. So, yeah. So, like, I think that was like a really fun issue. Then issue 2 starts, and it is, I think we forgot to say, but yes, she is pregnant. Gordon's wife, Barbara, is pregnant. And he says even, like, I think he names him and says, like, James, and he's like, yes, I want it to be a boy.
Yeah.
Like, he specifically wants a boy. And he names him James. And then Gordon's driving to a hostage situation where there's a crazy guy, like a schizophrenic guy, who's got children held hostage in a building. And I don't know if the building is mostly empty or not, whatever. But they specifically, like, the cops want to send in the SWAT team. And apparently the SWAT team is just a murder squad. Like, whenever they go in to any building to clear it with one guy, they end up murdering like every the people that are inside as well. They just start firing randomly. Yeah. So no one wants him or wants them in there. So Gordon literally shows his gun to the guy, puts it on the ground, walks into the building, and he's able to disarm the dude, which I thought was cool. I was like, he just like walks up and he's like, "Pah!" and like takes the gun out of his hand, and he's able to get the guy out with no problem. And I thought that was pretty awesome. Just the way that they showed Gordon in this is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, Gordon is like every time he's able to pretty much one up the person he's going against every time. So
yeah, and one thing that's cool about all this stuff Gordon's doing is he's getting more and more popular with the press, and the press in the city is like, this new hero cop who's new to Gotham. He's kicking ass and taking names, not like all the little shitty cops. Who are like on the take and murdering people when they get into situations like that. And so, it's good for him, but it's like it kind of protects him because they can't just kill him because everybody likes him. But also it's putting a target on his back even more.
And during this time, Bruce, like after that first night, he has like a moment where he's sitting alone in his place and he's like, I just need to know like how to make these corrupt people in the town afraid.
Right, because that was the thing with the pimp. The pimp was like, what the fuck are you going to do or whatever. Like, he wasn't scared of Bruce at all. Because also in this, like, Bruce doesn't look like he's 6'3" or some shit. Yeah. Which I think later on they kind of like make him a little taller. Like he gets lifts or some shit. Yeah, it's the ears. Sure.
What do you think they make the ears longer every time?
Yeah, when was it Kelly? Is it Kelly Jones? Yeah, I think it's Kelly Jones when he draws him in the 90s.
The really
like super tall ears. Yeah, that adds another 8 inches or whatever. But, so in this, like, he's not imposing at all as Bruce Wayne. And so it makes sense that he's got to, like, he has, like, a vision about, he has a vision about his parents, and then a bat flies in through the window and breaks the glass. He's like, I got it.
He's like, that's it.
Bats. Or
whatever. I will be the bat.
The bat. So he actually goes out for the first time on this night. And the night is, I think it's supposed to be like April 9th or some shit. So it's been like 4 months since the beginning of the comic. Yeah. And we see like Gordon and his wife have like, he's super stressed out, but they still have like a fairly good relationship. But he's always busy. He's always at work because of all the shit happening. And also the Batman's going out now and beating people up. Yeah. And so he's getting calls about that all night long too. Like there's some vigilante tying, robbers up and shit. And specifically this night that he gets called about, there's some, I guess, people stealing stuff from an apartment, and they're on a fire escape, as it is back in the cities. And there's 3 guys on a fire escape, so there's not a lot of room because they're 20 stories up, he says. Yeah. And they're trying, this is like the dumbest fucking robbery.
We're going to take TVs down.
A TV, a record player, and some other stupid shit, and we're going to take it down 20 flights of stairs on the outside of the building. And no one's going to see that or care or whatever. So they do that, or they try to do that. And Bruce, this time, he's still not on his full Batman game because he jumps down. He scares one of the kids. The scaredest kid, like he assesses all 3 of them instantly, which I thought was cool. He's like if he could just read their like power levels or some
Yeah.
shit right away. Like he's got a scanner or something. Like, oh, that guy's 9,000. I got to watch out for him. And this guy's 40. Okay, I can take him on or whatever. But the kid that's like the lowest power or whatever, he falls because he's scared and he falls backwards and almost dies. But Batman grabs his foot. But this leaves Batman open to the other two guys who don't care about their friend who's about to die if Batman lets go. And they begin to kick him in the head and hit him on the head with TVs and shit. And they're just trying to make him, drop the kid or fall himself with the kid, their friend. And Batman will not let this happen. So he actually is able to pull out a win and like grab, he kicks back and one of the kids gets broken ribs, and then the other kid, the like most powerful kid or whatever, tries to kick Batman, and Batman is able to grab him and throw him on his head on the fire escape. So
yeah, I like that he like grabbed it and it was like twist ankle, knocked down. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So, but then he's got to sit there and be like, maybe I'm not fully ready yet. like I thought that was funny. He's like just like breathing heavy on the fire escape. Like that didn't go too well. It was bad second outing.
That was lucky.
Yes, but now it's May now, and reports of this bat figure, terrorizing, people, criminals and stuff is around. And
yeah, this is crazy. So there's 78 confirmed assaults in 5 weeks.
Yes, that's a lot.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of assaults. So Batman has been on the on the night prowl or whatever, and so. The best thing is like people are reporting an actual bat person.
Yeah. Well, even Flash is like, I saw him. He ain't human.
It's a literal bat or whatever. And so, yeah, and it's funny because Flash has, and like the police are doing a what is this, like a meeting with the whole department about this Batman problem, and Gordan is saying, hey, this Batman did all these assaults in 5 weeks. We're not sure what's going on. Some people, Flash, reported him as an actual bat, and other people, the
sane people,
yes, normal people, were like, yeah, he's a dude in a suit or whatever. So we also get the introduction of a woman police officer who I don't know if she was in the place before or if she just got transferred here, but her name is Essen.
Yeah, Sergeant Essen, and
she begins to work closely with Gordan on the Batman case a lot. But first, in this scene I liked a lot, Gordan is like, well, Flash, why don't you tell us what happened? And Flash has like a neck brace. And so Flash is like, well, as I said before, I was just about to bust this giant drug trade thing happening, and it was just me, and I was going to do it myself. And then it shows what actually happened, and he's getting money. He's getting bribed from these people on the docks or whatever to let cocaine or whatever into the city. And Batman showed up and beat the fuck out of all of them. And he's saying like he got shot and the bullet just went straight through his body. But actually what happened is they shot him, and as he ducked, it went through his cape. And so he's saying that it's wings, and he's like, I don't know, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
And he's like, he had like claws or darts or something he threw at us. And
and this is just the batarangs. But I was like, are these smaller, like mini batarangs?
They look like mini batarangs.
Yeah, like he throws 4 at once, and they're like 2 inches long or something. I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like it's not just one big one or whatever. So I thought that was fun. But yeah, so it's Batman's becoming a problem. So the police are very much like, this task force,
get the Batman.
Yeah, we don't give a fuck about anything else. Get the Batman. So the Batman is aware of this now because, he's feeling the heat from the police and everything. And he knows who's corrupt. He's like, fucking Loeb, the commissioner's corrupt. He's like, the only guy I'm not sure about is this Gordan or whatever, And also he mentions Harvey Dent, like, oh, this guy, he seems to be on the up and up as well.
Yeah.
And so Batman pays Loeb a little visit while he's with the mayor and a bunch of other mob bosses. They're having dinner at the mayor's house. And Batman throws a grenade in there, like a smoke grenade, and he shows up and he cuts the power.
Oh, this is one of my favorite panels in the whole book.
Yes, and he blows a hole in. As they were saying, like they were literally just having a conversation about this Batman problem. And he walks in and there's like a, I don't know, is it a flambe or whatever? There's like
flambe, yeah.
Yeah, there's like a dish that's on fire, and he's about to put it out, but he grabs the top of it and he goes, "You've eaten Gotham's wealth, its spirit. Your feast is nearly over. From this moment on, none of you are safe. And then he puts the flambe out.
Yeah, and then it shows like the whole room looks like it goes black. That's fun.
Yes, and I thought that was like a great introduction of Batman being badass.
That was a good like.
That's like his first real.
Yeah, I will strike fear into the heart of these Richie Riches.
Yes, and that puts a real fire under Loeb and the mayor and everybody, because now they're like, what the fuck? How did he get to our house? And he like knocked out our guards and all this stuff. So the police begin staging like fake crimes happening with like the Lady Essen, and they're like, oh, help me, my purse, someone's stealing it. And then Batman's like, she walks too good in heels, she screams too good, like, you know, like he's not buying it at all, but he's there, he's like seeing it happen, but he knows it's not a real crime or whatever. But he does still go around and like fuck with Falcone and stuff, and ties him up, and you know, he's doing all this crazy shit. And then we get a little bit of this is like a key thing with this book, is Gordan and Essen begin to have a little bit of a working relationship that might be a little bit more than a working relationship. Like she's in the car and they're kind of talking about, who is this Batman? Who do you think he could be? It's got to be someone. And they think maybe it's Dent, because they talk to Dent and they're like, well, you got weight set here, huh, Dent? You lift a lot of weights. You know, you're a strong guy, huh?
It's interesting, and it's interesting. Some of the people you're going after are the ones that are like
that you go after in your at your day job.
Yeah,
whatever, you know? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then we see that him and Batman, Dent and Batman, have been talking right as Gordan came in. So Batman's hiding behind the desk.
Literally crouching behind the desk.
Is he gone yet? Yeah, like literally, it's kind of a funny panel. I thought it was funny, but yeah. So Essen and Gordan are talking, and she lights a cigarette that was in her mouth, and then gives it to Gordan to smoke. And he says in his notes, or what his narration, like, I'm already tasting your lipstick on the cigarette. Like he's getting a little too friendly with Essen. You know, he says even, I could kiss you, Essen, because she suggests that maybe Bruce Wayne, you know, is Batman because he's the richest man in Gotham, and being from the town, you know, his parents were killed,
murdered, yeah,
and he's got a reason, you know, so he's got the means.
Huh. That's weird. She's so on the nose.
Yeah, but she knows exactly what's going on. And then like right as they're talking about this, they're driving, and I guess, you know, some trucker. Was he speeding or something? Or he was out of control? So.
He's out of control, yeah.
He's out of control. Gordan tries to save him because he's about to hit like a homeless person that's like pushing a cart across the street. And Batman comes out of nowhere and saves the homeless person. So Gordan thought he was going to die, you know, like, or the person was going to die. And so he's like, oh, thank God, like someone saved the guy. But then like they're like torn because they're like, well, we're cops. And we're supposed to stop this Batman fellow. And he is a vigilante. So like Essen pulls a gun and is like, freeze. And he like, Batman fucking shoves her in the face and like just takes the gun out of her hand. But Gordan, who's, I guess he's kind of hurt from like almost getting in an accident and like jumping off the truck when it was moving. He doesn't quite get his gun up. His fingers aren't working correctly, it says. And Batman gets away, but he calls for backup. And so this is where Batman gets shot in the leg. And there's this whole sequence where he goes into a tenement building that's like abandoned, they say, but it's not abandoned. There's like a couple of homeless people that are living in here. And this is where you see how fucking crazy the cops are.
Yeah.
Because they've been given the, like, you can do whatever you want as long as you get rid of Batman from the mayor and Loeb. They get like the full kill order. And Brandon, who's the cop who's like part of the SWAT team, like the kill squad, he like flies a helicopter and starts dropping like literal munitions,
literal
like bombs
explosives
into this tenement building, and the building collapses, and it literally kills like 3 people besides almost killing Batman, and Batman just happens to get away because he finds. And I was like, really? I mean, I've been in a lot of buildings. This is a thing that some buildings have, like weird trap doors that have an underground area that I hate fucking going in those places. But like, yeah, these places exist. I don't know if they exist in this tenement building, but whatever. There's an electrical vault underneath with like a metal door, and he's like, a metal door. If I could just get under it before the thing collapses. And then he gets in there. But then it happens to be the maintenance guy's house, or like where he was staying, like his apartment. It's not an actual like electrical vault, and there's a chimney in there. That was like, I was like, what a weird design to have. An underground. A fireplace is not a good thing to have.
Maybe it used to be, and then it was,
Maybe they built tenements different back in the day. Maybe that's why this tenement is abandoned. I don't know. But yeah, so Batman gets down in that tenement, or in that maintenance guy's house, but the guy's not there. But it looks like he was living there, so maybe he's just out tonight or whatever. Luckily for him, he didn't die.
Yeah, good thing.
In the meantime, we do get a cut back to like Catwoman, or we'll call her Catwoman. She becomes Catwoman. Obviously, it's Selena Kyle, and her house is fucking full of cats. And I was like, this is the scariest fucking house ever. So many cats, like, meh, meh.
Yeah, no, they're all like on her bed, like, hey, wake up, feed us. And there's literally like 12 cats.
I like how they call out specifically Siamese. I have a Siamese cat, and she is very, very wordy. So she was like, meow, meow, feed me. Give me stuff. She always does that shit. So, pet my butt. So, so yeah, she's in the house where she stays, and one of the prostitute that stabbed Batman is kind of like staying with her, I guess, in her room, and not in a like sexual way, I assume, because that girl's very young, and it just seems like they just have like she's like a motherly relationship.
Yeah, it seems. I mean, we've kind of seen that before in some other comics.
Yeah, so. For sure. And but the girl is like, "Oh my god, you hear those explosions? Look!" And you could literally see multiple explosions. They're dropping multiple bombs on this place, and then they send in the SWAT to like clean everybody out. And I thought this was pretty cool. This is kind of like that Matrix scene in the movie when they go into like that tenement building, and then the agents start shooting up the walls with the SWAT guys, and everybody's hiding in the walls and shit. But yeah, basically they find the trap door, they go down, and Batman's not there. But it turns out there was a chimney, there was a fireplace there. The chimney went up to the second floor, or up through the second floor, or I guess it would be the first floor if this is the basement. So through the first floor, and it was broken from the bombs. So he gets out, Batman gets out right there, and throws like sleeping gas or whatever down the chimney and puts them to sleep there. And basically, he gets out. And I like how they made a big scene of this, but there's a cat in this rubble that was living in that building, and Batman saves the cat. But he also, and I thought this was very interesting, he's got a thing he's been working on, and he's like, I never tried it during the day, but we'll see. Or from this far away, but we'll see what happens. And he pushes like a signal on his boot, and it calls his bats.
Yeah, I like this too. It's like some high pitched frequency, and it attract. I like this. They were very specific. It didn't hurt them. It
just attracts.
It attracts the bats.
The bats like the sound.
So that's cool. I was like, that made me feel better about, because I always wonder that too. Is like, are they annoyed by this sound? They're like coming out after.
I want to hate you. Yeah, I'm gonna kill you.
They're just like, oh no, hey, Papa.
Yes. So Batman, he's shot in the leg already, and then he's trying to. He's got limited resources because he had to get rid of his belt during the collapse of the building. But he's got
because he had like explosives on.
Well, he had thermite in his belt, so I assumed to like break open a door or something. But he's got a little dart gun that he's got like 3 shots that are like sleeping darts that he's shooting into people's necks, like SWAT members, like oh my neck, and then like pass out or whatever. And then one of the SWAT guys is like, this fucking cat's annoying me, and he tries to shoot him. And Batman is like, not the cat,
not the kitty.
He saves the cat's life, and while he does that, he throws the cat out the window, which I thought was funny. He's like, meow, like he just throws it out after saving it. But they're all like firing on him. Yeah, of course, cats they have 9 lives. It's fine. They could have shot that cat and it would have came back, no problem.
That's true.
So but he gets shot in the arm during this, and then those fucking idiot cops are also shooting out the window that the cat was in, or that got thrown out, and they're shooting cops and shooting at the onlookers and shit, and it's just like crazy stuff. And I want to say, so the cat that he saves is, I think he says it's a Siamese.
Yeah, he says it's a Siamese too.
And then Catwoman, or Selena, she's not Catwoman yet, shows up with the little girl to see what's going on at this area where the explosions are going on. And the cat that he saves goes to her, and I'm like, is this supposed to be Isis? Is it Isis?
Maybe.
Does she say Isis later on? Like,
I don't think so. No.
Okay, because Isis is the name of the cat in the animated series. I don't know if that's like canon or whatever, but apparently she got one of her cats from Batman saving a cat. And Batman is able to escape. He eventually he summons all his energy.
He kicks a support beam in this building
with his bad leg, with his shot leg. He even says he's like, my leg's shot, but I gotta give it all I got, and he like kicks it, and it fucking breaks a whole column, like a Greek column, in half, and makes just the rest of it fall, and then is able to jump out of the way before anybody else can jump out of the way. As the police like kind of descend on him, he kicks it and then he gets out of the way, and so Batman, ends up he's like fighting off the rest of the cops, and then the bats come, and when the bats come, he's able to get out of there, and he steals a motorcycle, and I thought this was funny. Loeb sees him stealing the motorcycle. He's like, follow him, and Loeb can't see anything because there's so many bats flying around from Batman. And Batman makes like a right turn, gets away on the motorcycle, but Loeb doesn't see it. And the bats just fly over the ocean, and his cop car continues to follow them into the ocean. And then he realizes, oh shit, we're in the ocean. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And then they say like all the people got bit by bats. So that was funny as well. Like all of them had to get shots for rabies or whatever. But yeah, then we're in the summer now. It's been 5 or 6 months now. And we see the relationship between Essen and Gordan getting steamier and steamier. They're spending lots of late nights together. Kind of.
Barbara's always so worried. He's always at work.
Yeah, and she's always like, it's your quitting time. Shouldn't we? Maybe we could share a cab.
And he's like, think of her as a cop. Think of her as a cop.
Yeah. Don't get a boner. Don't get a boner.
Sergeant Essen.
Oh, yeah, because he starts calling her like Sarah, too, like in his head. And he's like, no, Essen, not Sarah. And like, yeah, he's like, he's getting all weirded out and romantically inclined towards
I think
her.
he's impressed with her detective skills.
Oh yeah, well she does mention like, Bruce Wayne, if it's him, he'll be wounded and shit. We should call and see where he's at. Yeah. And Gordan actually follows up on that and calls, and Alfred says, oh, he's in Switzerland skiing. Here, call this number. And then some guy pretends to be Bruce Wayne there and goes like, oh yeah, I broke my 2 legs and my arm, and I have casts, and that's why I'm out of the, I haven't been able to return yet. And it's like, well, how convenient. Well, she even says, like, how convenient his legs and arms are broken. The cast will cover any bullet
wounds.
Yeah. So it's pretty awesome the way that they do that. But Gordan and Essen finally, at the end of this night or whatever, they share a cab. They talk at the diner about, like, who could Batman be, what's going to happen. And it starts raining, and they huddle in a doorway, and they're just overtaken by their lust for each other, and they kiss. And he's like, nothing else happens that night, but he's definitely like, like he's fallen for her, like at that moment, right? Like, and she's also like giving into it as well, because before it was just him, but now we see from her point of view as well, or at least from her actions, she's into it as well. And then now it's August, and we see Selina is now finally dressing up as Catwoman. She's gonna start taking part in this vigilante thing that's going on because she's pissed off.
Yeah, and she's been kind of inspired. They're both been kind of, her and the younger one have been like, oh whoa, Batman is like, it seems like he's trying to clean up and like do some good.
Yes, but also she wants to get. I can't remember why she goes after certain people, but she definitely goes after like the Falcone guy and some other people that are like.
I think there were people that were basically helping like fund and like keep that kind of area.
Oh yeah, because they're on the take for the prostitution and stuff. Yeah, that's right. So like she doesn't like that. Obviously, like 12-year-old kids are getting prostituted. So nothing's worse in this book than the way that Gordan, like, he's so torn because he likes this new girl, but he's also got a pregnant wife, and he's kind of a son of a bitch, and he knows it.
Oh yeah,
because he's feeling guilty, real guilty, as his pregnant wife lays there in bed asleep, and he's just sitting there like, what do I do? I got, I'm so stressed out from Batman and just being a cop in Gotham, and also this lady that I like and everything, and he's just like, he can't figure out what to do with his life. But the thing is, he says like it's it. We can't do anything. You know, we're not going to do anything else. Just that one kiss. He says that to Essen, and like she knows that his wife's pregnant and all this stuff. Like she's aware of these details.
Yeah. Well, apparently he got her a bracelet at one point too, because she's like gonna gonna like take it off, and he's like, no, keep it. Like I guess like that'll be a memory of us seeing
our relationship. Yeah, because he's like, I gotta give you up or whatever, and he tells her that. But then like 3 days later, they're in his office making out again, and he can't stop it. And this is where you said, I don't know if they had sex or whatever. I'm like, it kind of seems like they did at this moment, because in his office, they're there alone. The files are dropped to the floor. They're making out. And
we just say her arms are strong.
Yeah, her whole body's strong.
strong.
It's late. We've both worked late again. I never get tired around her. She's requested a transfer. She's leaving Gotham City. I'm in love with her. It's the only thing to do. What's the only thing to do?
What's the only thing to do? That's true. Okay.
I think they had sex, but, you know,
Maybe.
we don't know. They don't say it explicitly.
Look.
This was the 80s.
I know, and I'm trying to be like, no, Jim Gordon's got to come around, right? He's a hero in the end, right? So like he can't go down this path.
Oh, he can go down on her. And
wow. Wow.
He can go down her path. Oh.
Ew.
So
wow.
So this kind of everything kind of like comes to a head, so to say, when this guy, what's this dude's name? There's like a guy he's a pimp, right? That's
he's a drug dealer.
He's a drug dealer. Okay, he's a drug dealer that knows everything about Flass. So if the cops can get him to talk about Flass, they can get Flass to talk about everything going on with the mayor and with Loeb, because Flass knows all that stuff. And this guy, his name's Skeevers, he's been arrested for, this is his fourth time being arrested for drug narcotics. And I'm assuming like big shipments of narcotics.
Yeah.
And all the other times he's gotten off because he knows the mayor and he's got dirt on everybody and he knows who's in on all the stuff. So they always let him go. And this time he gets out on bail. And he's got a lawyer like appointed by the mayor and everybody. Like she's obviously in on what's going on, like with the organized crime side of this. And Skeevers is doing cocaine next to her and everything, and which I was like, wow, this is the 80s and she's doing cocaine right there on the page, huh? That's crazy. I was trying to think like, when was this exactly? But
yeah.
Like what was going on in the comics world at this time? And I don't, cocaine on a page in an actual Batman comic is pretty hardcore, I think. But
well, they don't say it's cocaine, so
he's just a couple of lines, and he's smoking, or he's snorting with a straw off the table, and he
rubs his nose.
Yeah, he rubs his nose or whatever. So it's pretty obviously what he's doing. But the lawyer leaves, and she's like, just don't do a bunch of coke, all right? Just stay in this room and like don't kill yourself or whatever. And Batman breaks into that room and basically tells him like you have to rat on the people you know who are dirty or whatever. So you got to rat on Flass. And so he goes to the police station and says, I want to talk about Flass. He gets arrested.
He wants to talk to Dent specifically.
Yeah, he wants to talk to Dent, of course. And this is not good for the other people, right? So Loeb is like, call Gordon in and is like, Gordon, I need you to fix this thing. And Gordon's like, why would I help you, like, protect Flass and yourself?
Oh, it's funny you would say that. Why would you help me? Slam!
Yeah, and he slams down these pictures of Essen and him making out. Possibly more, but for sure kissing.
Very good photos behind you, too.
Yeah, very good. This made me question whether Essen was actually in on it or not.
We were wondering, yeah.
Maybe she was a plant. It'd be pretty easy to plant a lady detective next to you and start flirting and stuff and make you think that you were into her or that she was into you.
It literally just for this type of situation.
Right, exactly. You get some dirt on people. Men are stupid, John. Men are stupid people. And we will do stupid things if ladies show us their bits. So, or even suggest that bits might be shown. Yeah. Or have any slight interest in us whatsoever. So, yeah, he shows Gordon that, and Gordon's like, oh, my God. And so Gordon's pretty freaked out. And this was something you thought was interesting. So Gordon still following up on who the fuck is Batman. because the mayor's like, you need to find out who the fuck this Batman guy is, and also we need to take care of Skeevers and what's going on with that. So Gordan goes with his wife to talk to Bruce Wayne, and we were trying to figure out, like, was he doing it just to like kind of be disarming to Bruce, or like, you know, to have Gordon's wife there, Barbara, was she like in on it? Like, hey, watch Bruce and see if he seems weird and tell me what you think afterwards. Like, what was going on in his head?
It said better than having her like stay at home and worry about him, but it seemed like maybe there was a little other.
Yeah, well, he asked her at the end of this meeting, like, what'd you think of him? And in this meeting, Bruce Wayne is doing his Bruce Wayne thing where he's like, oh, I have this girl and I fucked her last night. And I mean, he didn't say that. She doesn't even speak English. I don't even know what she was saying, but we definitely fucked a lot. And we're so drunk. Yeah, would you like some champagne? It's 8 a.m. and I'm still drunk or whatever. So, and he's got like a bathrobe on or whatever, and probably not wearing anything under that.
Yeah,
and his balls are hanging.
I was gonna say he does the Basic Instinct.
yes, for sure he does that. And but like we said at the end, he asked Barbara, like, what do you think of that guy? And she's like, he's a despicable man or whatever.
Yeah, he's a pig.
Yeah, he's a pig. And
he was like, yeah, he was acting like one.
He was acting like one.
Which I love. The next thing is Bruce watching outside, like at their car. He sees them in the window because they like stopped in his like the long driveway.
Yes, yeah, because he's got like the millionaire's driveway or whatever.
And Bruce is like, hey, Alfred, what'd you think of my performance? And Alfred's like, so can we keep the club soda in like the regular bottle now, or do you need more in these champagne bottles?
Yeah, so he was just drinking a bunch of club soda. So yeah, I thought that was clever or whatever. It also seems like Alfred's like mad about this, like when he's like, Alfred, more champagne, and Alfred's like, fucking goddamn it,
I gotta go pour more club soda.
Like now I gotta go. You just imagine him with like a Magnum champagne bottle pouring individual cans of club soda into it. She's like, God damn it, Bruce. So like Alfred's got to do a lot of work to keep up, his appearance. And so the reason why Gordon's car stops is because he's talking to her about, oh, this man, is a bad guy or whatever. He's a pig, but maybe he's acting and all this. And then he says, anybody who'd wear a cape and hunt criminals might go pretty far to keep his secrets deep. And then he goes, secrets. Damn it all. And she's like, Jim, why are you stopping? And he's like, honey, I have to tell you something. We have to talk right now. And he, like a real man, I'm sure this drive was not a fun drive home, but he tells her, hey.
Yeah, he tells her everything.
Hey, I've been cheating on you with this cop, Essen, and she's leaving. She's already set to transfer, but we at least kissed. They don't say what else they did. But so this is the cool thing, though, is later on, when Gordan protects Skeevers and doesn't do what the mayor and Loeb want, they call her and was like, oh, your husband's cheating on you. And she's like, yes, I know. Don't bother me again. Like, I'm aware that, he's
yeah, it's true. I love that she was just, she like shrugged it off. She's like, yeah, I already know.
Yeah. And then like Skeevers gets like rat poison put in his food because people are trying to kill him because he's talking. But he ends up, living, and he gets to testify and shit against a Flash. And then it says Flash later on got to tell like, what was it, like, it only took 2 weeks and 7 hours or something for Flash to fully tell everything he knew, and
to read on him.
He kept detailed notes of every conversation.
Oh yeah, because like even was able to incriminate Loeb. Like he kept everything on record.
Yes, and so it was pretty awesome. That's what happened, and then we cut to like the last kind of big showdown that happens, and Batman goes to confront Falcone, who's like the mob boss, if you remember from the animated show and from Long Halloween. He's kind of integral to that. And this was interesting because Falcone takes a big center thing in Long Halloween and like the gangster family part of it. And I think a lot of that was kind of born out of this because apparently the nephew that's in this, he puts a hit out on him and stuff. And I think that was mentioned in, like, that was what created a rift in the family in
Long Halloween. Because him and the sister were fighting.
Yes. So I think they took that and made Long Halloween from this directly. That makes sense. So it was cool. And but while Batman is there, he was trying to like listen to their conversation as Falcone was about to give some important information, Catwoman shows up and just starts attacking guards. And they try to take her out, but Batman helps her, like, just get out of it. Like, he knocks the guys out or whatever with batarangs or some shit.
Yeah.
And she gets away. And I like specifically this page that we're looking at, which is page 97 of the deluxe version. The way that Mazzucchelli drew Catwoman is very, very close to the we'll call it the Dark Knight Catwoman, or I think it's Catgirl.
Catgirl, I think.
Catgirl. The when Kelly, what's her name? The Robin.
Yeah.
Kelly.
I feel bad.
I can't remember off the top of my head. Carrie Kelly, that's her name. God damn it. I couldn't believe I forgot that. But yeah, it looks a lot like Carrie Kelly did in Dark Knight 2 when she comes back and she's Catgirl.
Yeah.
She got the same like hat or like a cowl
on it. Yeah, it does look very similar.
Yeah. So one thing I like, they move so fast through the time in this that like Bruce's recovery seems really fast from like bullet wounds, but it's been like months.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it makes sense in that context, but because the comic is only 4 issues and they cram all of these months into like, 4 months per issue or whatever, it's like, oh, that was really quick that it's been 3 months already, so it's kind of funny. But the like last hurrah of this is, finally Floss is giving up like all the info and everything, and so Gordon thinks he's kind of safe now because everybody's kind of protected because everybody's kind of arrested or being investigated right now. That was on the police force, but what happens is what's his name? The mob boss guy.
Oh, Falcone.
Yeah. Falcone is like, Gordon, Johnny, you gotta get Gordon, all right? And he like puts a hit out on Gordon. So Gordon gets a call at night, and he's you gotta go to work or whatever. And he's like, God damn it, all right, let's do it. We'll go. And he goes in, and he realizes as he pulls into the like parking lot of this parking garage I think it's for the police department, that like he sees a car and he's like, oh my God. And he realizes right as he's like going in there, they were trying to get me out of my house
so they could
kidnap my son and wife. And he looks, and as he pulls into this, he gets out of his car and he sees he thinks like this motorcycle guy that he was following or that he saw was part of this, because he also pulls in. He sees the motorcycle guy. He's like, oh my God, I'm ready for him. But then he looks and there's a guy in a car with a knife to his baby's neck.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, he's going to kill a baby. I thought he was going to kill this baby in this. I was like, oh my God. Because I couldn't remember the end of this. And I was like,
I know that would be.
I was like, I don't remember anybody talking about James Gordon II or whatever in any other comic context.
Does a baby die?
Just a baby die in this? So yeah, Jim, which I thought was fucking badass. Jim in his head is like, we're dead. Like, they're not going to let this go. We need to die according to them. So I can't like give in to their wishes or play with them, as far as like, acquiesce to what they're saying to do. Like, oh, put your gun away. I just need to fire and like, surprise the shit out of him. He kills one of the guys, and then he shoots the other one in the shoulder. And the guy in the car with the baby drives away, and but his wife lives. So he's like, because like they had the wife, they're like, give up and we'll let you live. And it's like, no, I'm not. Yeah. You're not going to do that. So that's why he fired.
And Jim gets shot too.
Yes, but then Jim thinks the guy on the motorcycle was part of this, so he whips around and shoots the guy on the motorcycle. When we find out, that's actually Bruce Wayne that was on the motorcycle, and this was cool. So he takes his helmet off because he just got shot in the chest, and he looks up, and Barbara has got a gun, and she's like, I'll kill you. And he's like, Miss Gordon, you have to trust me. I won't let your boy die. And I'm assuming she sees his face. So
yeah.
I mean, he's shadowed in the comic, but she knows his voice.
Yeah.
She knows kind of what he looks like. So
she literally went to his house. So
yeah. So I think she knows who he is. And Gordon takes that motorcycle. Bruce takes a bike, which I thought was funny. Somehow, Bruce catches up to them on a bike, even though they were on a car and a motorcycle.
We assume that they didn't get that far.
Apparently not far at all, because they're on a bridge, and Gordon shoots at the tire, and the car crashes into the bridge, and the man holding his baby gets out, and has a knife fight with him, and
while holding the baby.
And he throws the baby over the edge.
Yeah, no, that was insane because he's like holding the baby with one hand, coming at Gordan with a knife, like and then like as they're like tussling and he's like pushed Gordan up against the thing, he just like flings the baby with his other hand.
Fuck you, baby, and yep, and Gordan. I mean, I felt this panel. There's a panel of Gordan just being no as his baby's falling to his death because he doesn't see Bruce Wayne jumping off the edge of this bridge after the baby, catching the baby, even though the baby's fallen already. So, I mean, physics class would tell me that that's not possible, but he's the goddamn Batman.
Yeah, he's the Batman. He's got something in his shoes that propelled him a little bit.
His shoes.
I don't know.
But he does end up saving the baby, and it's pretty epic. There's a great panel of like silhouettes where you see Bruce grab the baby, and then I guess he's able to like tumble and roll into the water with the baby, and he saves him. And it's not very, I mean, they're standing in this water. It looked like he fell like a good 20, 30 feet. They're standing ankle deep in this water. Yeah. So there was not a lot of padding or anything to dive into. It wasn't very deep. So definitely don't want to, dive into this water head first. But he saves the baby, and, Gordan sees his face, and he's like, I liked this a lot. He's like, oh my God, you're safe, boy. And he's like holding the baby, and he says, you must be wearing some armor under that jacket. And Bruce is like, yeah. And he's like, I'm practically blind without my glasses because Gordon's glasses have fallen off. And he's like, sirens are coming. You better go. And so, it's basically him saying, like, I'm going to keep your secret. Like, I know who you are, and I'm going to keep your secret. I don't think before this, Gordan ever knew who Batman was.
Yeah.
So then we get to see that Flash fully testified against everybody, and it, got everybody, that was corrupt, at least in the process of being put in jail. Like, they're basically under investigation.
Now Harvey Dent has stuff on all of them.
Yes,
and he's gonna go after them.
But we also hear that there's some new people that like someone has caused real panic and said they're going to poison the Gotham reservoir, and he calls himself the Joker. So there's some more things happening in the city that weren't before, and that's the end. We leave with the Joker poisoning.
Yeah, and he's Gordon's like, I think I got a friend I can call now, and so then they show the bat signal, obviously.
Yes,
and it's fun.
It was fun. So, John, what would you give it? What did you think?
I loved it. It was a great story. Like you said, with the context now of what we have, I think it definitely adds. It makes it feel a little more like a connective tissue story, than necessarily just his first year. Like,
well, also I read this, and when I read this, I don't know if I knew that it was issues 404 to 407. Like, I didn't realize that it was part of the main Batman continuity. I just thought it was like some random, like Dark Knight, which it's a graphic novel or whatever. So
that's true. I probably didn't the first time either because I wasn't paying attention to the comic numbers.
Yeah.
So I'm overall. I mean, the art is really good in this. There's some some panels I was like, oh man, I would totally have a poster of that. That's really cool looking.
So many panels in this. I was like, I want that poster, panel, whatever.
And the story's fun. Like I said, the only critique I would say is like you said, and it's nothing against it. It's just that I was like, oh man, I gotta get used to reading this cursive.
It's goddamn fancy script.
I know, yeah. Like give it. So like to us, like it was like we had to get a little used to it. But I was like, yeah, I can't imagine giving this to a kid now. Like, here, check this out, and the kid's like, I can't fucking read this comic.
Yeah, learn how to read, dummy.
But I loved it. It was great, and I'm gonna give it an 8.
An 8?
Yeah, it's a solid comic.
I'm gonna give this one a 9.
Oh wow,
this one really came out and hit me like in the fields. I was literally on the edge of my seat.
You thought that baby was gonna die.
I thought that baby was gonna fucking die. We're talking about Frank Miller, and I never heard of James Gordon Jr. All right, there's never been a comic about James Gordon Jr.
That's true.
So I was like, what the fuck is this?
That's true. And we were saying there's other little stories that you're talking about, but like in general, DC gives like all of their even like little characters like stories and stuff down the line, and we never hear anything about.
Yeah, I never hear about James Gordon Jr. It's untapped. It's untapped lineage right there. So don't steal that. That's my idea. No one else steal that. Write that comic. So I'm gonna give this a 9, man. I really fucking loved it, and not only that, it reads quickly. It like flows really well.
Yeah, we had a lot of tangents here, but this is really only a 4-issue comic.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I just thought it was fantastic. The art, I mean, I don't know if I fully appreciated the art when I first read it either, and now I know like what I'm looking at, and I'm like, oh my god. Like we've read so much Batman comics that I'm like, oh, okay, like I know like how a good Batman page is laid out and all that.
Do you know any other David Mazzucchelli off of
Mazzucchelli?
Pardon. Are you sure it's not Mazzucchelli?
I don't know. Please, it's Mazzucchelli. Mazzucchelli.
My friends call me David.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I think he did some more work with Frank Miller on Daredevil.
Okay,
I think I'm trying to remember what else he's done.
Well, I was just gonna say in general, like
he's like a fine artist. That's the thing. He wasn't like only a comic book artist. It was like he got into comics because Frank Miller was like, I want that guy, and like I think he saw his art like not in comics and was like, that guy's a great artist. So like, and I think he had done some comics, but that's why he was like, yeah, we'll do it. But yeah, I don't think he's done too much work other than that. All the like special stuff in here is actually about Mazzucchelli. It's all stuff from Mazzucchelli, like his early works, like when he's a little kid drawing Batman comics, and then like his first pages he ever submitted, which look fucking fantastic, by the way.
Yeah.
If that was in a comic now, I'd be like, yes, you are hired, sir. I mean, I'm not even a DC executive, but I would hire him to be a Batman writer or artist. So yeah, I mean, he's pretty fucking good at everything here. Just kind of like a master at everything. And yeah, I mean, you can't really get better than that Mazzucchelli drawing of Batman. I mean, if you saw that, you're like, that is 100% the Batman I see in my head.
Yep.
So it's kind of like a nice mix of like the 80s Batman and the animated series Batman, like all kind of put together, you know, like if you kind of crushed them together.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. The art is fucking fantastic. The coloring is fantastic in this book. Everything's good in this book. So definitely check it out. What are we reading next week, John?
Next week we're gonna go back to one that we started to get into, and then we took a side turn.
Yeah. Well, because you got sick, and then we were doing Black History Month, so we're going back to what we were supposed to read like 6 weeks ago. We're gonna read Chainsaw Man, which is a manga. We're gonna read Volume 1 of Chainsaw Man,
and it looks ridiculous.
It looks, yes. I mean, I actually have read this, and I was telling you, hey, we got.
I started, but I was sick, so I was like,
okay, yeah. So this was, I read this and Fire Punch at the same time.
That's right, because you were like, we gotta, yeah.
So I would say, I'm just gonna spoil it a little bit. This is better than Fire Punch, so,
nice.
but still in the same realm, so of like crazy weird stuff. So I wanted to hear what your thoughts on it were. And this is also like a very popular manga, and I was very surprised to hear that after reading it. So kind of like Fire Punch, I'm like, how does this have more than like 2 volumes? So like, who's reading this? And it's like, yes, like I need more dog fucking or whatever.
Yeah,
in my life.
Jesus.
Some weird shit, some cannibal dog fucking. So yeah, just weird shit from Fire Punch. I don't know, but Chainsaw Man has not similar themes, but just like weird stuff as well. So yeah. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can email us at planestrains.comicbooks, all one word, at gmail.com.
And don't forget about our Instagram, YouTube channel for exclusive content. We also got our Twitter. And don't forget, check out our Ko-fi. That's our page if you feel so inclined to support us.
Yes.
We
appreciate it. Sure.
Yes, ko-fi/planes, trains, and comic books. It's a great way to actually get everything that we've done every week. We do our little weekly recap. So if you missed anything, like anything that was on YouTube or not, we got everything there. And then we also, like I said, we have a couple tiers there for some extra content, some fun things, especially that Matt is working on right now.
Yeah, I'm doing Hellblazer Matt's Minis. So if you like the Swamp Thing Matt's Minis, and you want to know more about Hellblazer, I'm doing the same thing, but on Ko-fi. Under our paid tier, I think it's our $3 tier. So, and you know, every now and then I'm going to post episodes like to kind of tease people. So every now and then I'll put one out that I think is cool, just to like, you know, pepper the free space with some Hellblazer goodness. So be on the lookout for those. Even if you don't support us, you can always follow us, like John said, and we will be We always post everything we do every week. So, and you said the thing wrong. I think it's ko-fi.com/.
Oh, my apologies. I did forget the .com. Yes.
Yeah. So, and with that, we'll see you guys on the next one.
On the next one.
Bye.